So who you guys picking? These are both really good players, so I mean, honestly, I think either of them can take this one.
I agree. I think either of them can take the race.
That looks like I'm synced up.
All right. Good.
Just gonna open it.
Yeah. To continue what I was saying, I think either of these runners, they've already raced actually in this tournament in the winners bracket, and WQ actually knocked Pinkus off by, I think it was 2 seconds based on their timers and 3 seconds based on SRL, and that race was insanely close, pretty much neck and neck, even going up to Ganon and through the Ganon fight. So I'm gonna go with Pinkus on this one because I don't know, I just have a good feeling about it, but yeah, it could go either way.
There's a question in chat about the lamp, and you need the lamp to progress, but it's actually faster to get it in Zelda's prison cell rather than in Link's house. There are actually 3 chests you can get it in, so we just use the fastest one.
Yeah, in the other 2 chests, you end up getting blue rupees instead. So the game kind of just forces you to get the lamp, but doesn't like... Since both those chests, I believe, are missable, or at least the first one is missable. Like, once you fall down the hole, you can't go back, so...
Wow, they actually both messed up the... Or no, not Pinkus, but WQ actually had trouble with the first key guard.
That put him slightly behind, it looks like. A lot of the mistakes you make in Escape play a huge factor because they're just... Escape is so optimized. As like you can see, like these guys are used to getting like very low 550s like on the regular.
Yeah,
so like when they make a small mistake like that, they're just adding a second each time they mess it up or they make a small mistake.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Pinkus's splits now, and it looks like his PB has a 555 escape, which is a split that he should make up time on every time.
Yeah, he's Pinkus has a very good understanding of the early game movement. Probably more than most people. He's had some really solid... I think he has the fastest Eastern time. Except maybe not for Jaden. I think Jaden might have the fastest Eastern time, but I think he has the second.
Has the fastest escape. I think.
Who, Jaden?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Pinkus, like, I think his Eastern is like a 452 or very low 453 sort up, which is very good.
Yeah, Pinkus is actually the one who made the practice ROM hack that a lot of people use now. And it's always grinding rooms and, posting his times for rooms just so people have a reference, which is really cool. And I know it says he's seeded 6th here, which he was when the tournament first started back in March, I think it was. But if you look at the current leaderboards on speedrun.com/ALTTP, he's actually got the 3rd fastest time out of any active runners right now. And the only 2 before him are obviously Zelda and WQ. So this is actually... It's pretty much a race between the top 3 in the game right now.
Yeah, Pinkus has put a lot of time into this game, practice-wise. He's done more practice probably than most runners at a top level. I'd say I'm probably like 50-50 when it comes to practice and runs. He's about 80-20. 80% practice, 20% runs. And it's definitely paid off in the long run.
I don't know if anyone will ever be as bad as Crystal, though. It's like 1% runs, 99% practice.
She put a lot of time into practice, but she'd already had a pretty decent time. She started doing all that practice, I believe, after she had the 126, and then she just went into this hyperbolic time chamber and just did tons of practice, and then like got easy 124s. Yeah, reminder that the winner of this race will be facing Zelna. So
Yeah, I think, barring any disasters, this race will end, a little bit after 8:30, since it started a little bit after 7. So I think the race after that is scheduled to get going at around 9 o'clock. That's Eastern time, obviously.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a 4:53:29. That's a really solid Eastern time.
So WQ's probably gonna want to get St. Cart here. Oh, and
They both go for it.
yeah, they both go for it.
I expected Pinkus to go for it for sure.
Does he normally get it in his runs?
No, I don't think so. But he was getting it for a long time. I mean, for a tournament race, I figured he'd grab it. I think he's been grabbing it for every tournament race.
Yeah, I think so too.
These guys are heading to Eastern now. Normally, if you skip the St. Cart, this overworld can be pretty scary, especially like with the Octoroks. They all do 1 heart of damage. And everything else does about a half heart, but like normally when you leave escape, you have about a heart to a heart and a half sometimes. So skipping the St. Cart means you don't get a refill on your health when you leave escape.
Yeah, and especially with, like you said, there's a bunch of things that can hit you for 1 heart, and then there's also a damage boost to get the big key quickly in this dungeon, so it's imperative to make sure you have enough health going into that room.
Yeah, agreed. I think at minimum you take a heart and a half damage. Sometimes you take a half-hearted damage, apparently.
So there's a room coming up where they're going to kill 2 skeletons. If you're familiar with the game casually, you probably know that ordinarily 4 in the room spawn. But if you walk in a specific pattern, you can get only 2.
Yeah,
Pink is, see, he didn't walk in the correct pattern. He moved down a little bit before he got to the left side of the room, and that caused like an irregular spawn. So he lost some time there.
so right now they're just making their way over to the big key, which they're going to do a bit of a skip for. They're not going to skip the big key, they're going to skip the puzzle that gets you the big key, which is normally you have to kill all the enemies in the room, and then the anti-fairies will spread out, and then you can hit the switch to make the chest come up. But you do a little bit of damage boost through the anti-fairies and step on the switch before your iframes wear off, and there's the big key.
WQ is always fun to watch in that room because he gets a glitch.
I was just gonna
He has
say,
a messed up cart. Yeah.
I don't think it's his card. I think it's his Super Nintendo. His Super Nintendo is.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I seen him play DKC3, he has like the same weird anomalies in random spots. Yeah, a lot of the movement in Eastern is. It looks deceptively easy, but there's a lot of stuff going on with pumping and entering stairs and doors right in the center.
The WQ actually just passed up a 20 drop from one of the popos. Or are
Pinkus
they
is
called
so-
robos? I think they're popos. I don't know.
That's another thing that's hard to like see. Pinkus is like when he was lifting the pots in that room, he just did it. He did it like really good.
Yeah, I made a note of the rupees because they're gonna need a certain amount of rupees later, which he shouldn't have trouble getting all the rupees he needs, and because he didn't have enough arrows, Pinkus is gonna go back for an arrow pot and pick up that 20 spot.
Yeah, that's the gamble you take when you skip the arrow pot. It saves a second if you get an arrow drop from one of the Igors. I think it's like a 12.5% chance of not getting an arrow drop.
Yeah, so most of the time you will get it, but it can screw you over and make you lose a few seconds going back for that pot.
It's one of the more frustrating things that can happen early in game. When you're doing RTA, it's like worth taking that gamble just because, it's so early on. Most players at a top level will skip, the Sankar and skip the arrow pot.
So here they get the dash boots, which makes the game 10 times better. Because you can go fast. And they're also going to be doing a trick right off the bat called a spin dash, where if you press the dash button on the first frame of a sword spin and touch some stairs, you can walk around with dash speed.
Yeah, that's pretty fun to do. Just knowing the glitch, it's fun to just activate it and run around. One thing to note is that it only continues until you either get hit, in which you'd have to use stairs to activate it again, or until the next screen, in which you'd have to actually do the spin dash to reset the glitch again, and then hit stairs again.
It'll also drop if you hop a ledge.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it also requires you to leave the stairs cardinally. If you're holding a diagonal and you leave the stairs, it doesn't seem to work. And I guess I should point out that this is a 1.0 only glitch. So those of you with fancy US carts won't be able to do it.
I think it's having a little bit of trouble with his movement there around that bush.
Yeah, super speed movement is actually pretty hard to control.
Yeah.
One thing to note with super speed movement is that it's actually, and this is true when you're just dashing too, so you'll see the runners dashing against diagonal cliffs a lot, is diagonal movement is the most optimal movement, obviously depending on where you're going. But yeah, if you can move diagonally, that's what you want to do, whether you're dashing or in spin speed.
Let's see how much further WQ is. Looks like about a 10 to 11 second lead he has on Pinkus.
Yeah, and Pinkus has made a few uncharacteristic mistakes, I feel. Like the skeleton room and his spin speed movement.
I'm not sure if he's been very active lately.
He's been playing Mario World.
Yeah, that's right. This tournament has been going on for, I don't know, like, how long has it been now? 2.5 months? 3 months? I started at the end of March, didn't it?
So nearly 3 months.
Yeah, so almost 3 months now. So, a lot of these guys have been playing a lot. So, I mean, it's playing this game 3 months straight is,
It takes a toll mentally.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody can vouch for that.
Yeah, I think anyone would agree that this game is quite unforgiving, so it can be very, very frustrating when you're grinding out times. just practicing in general.
Yeah. It's a long category too, so being on top of like everything is really hard to do. It's hard to stay in shape, I guess, is what I mean to say.
And so both runners have collected the gloves at this point. Be making their way over to the Landmola's fight to collect the pendant.
So one of the interesting things about this game is how players manage their resources. Right now, we can see that Helge, or Pinkus, rather, has a better rupee count and a better arrow count, and that can actually really work to his advantage.
Arrows are really important.
Yeah, especially arrows. WQ might have to get the extra pot in this torch room. I don't know if he usually does or not.
Might not. 24 is like the minimum you want. Like if you're pretty confident in your... Yes, he's
Yeah, he's skipping it. Yeah.
If you're confident in your Lamola's fight, there's really no need to grab him. I normally would grab him in this case. I like having extra arrows. But as you can see, he's far experienced enough to skip him.
Who's landing up?
Very solid first two cycles so far from WQ.
Pretty
Cleaned that up
first
very
cycle.
nice.
Yes.
I think is pretty fit. A little bit of trouble here. Oh
Three
no, it
cycles
looks like it was
from
3 cycles
Pinkus.
too.
Yeah, really solid fight from him.
See, it's always weird because like the first cycle might look a little sketch, but you can always clean it up in the second and third cycles, which is what he did. You should never give up on your Lamola's fight. Even if you get like 1 arrow off on the first cycle, you can still salvage it and get a 3 cycle.
Yeah, especially if you time arrows properly as they're sprouting out from the ground. You can really make up on any damage lost in the first cycle.
So they're about to do a trick here on this overworld that saves about 6 seconds, called fake flippers. They don't have the flippers yet, but if you stand right next to the screen transition, jump in the water, and transition the screen, then you will fool the game into thinking you have the flippers.
Oh, looks like Pinkus scrolled the screen. But see, the way Pinkus just did fake flippers there is actually a pretty safe way of doing it, even though it's slower. If he would have got hit by the Zora, he wouldn't have soft-locked his game. It's the only benefit of doing it on that screen, because when you take a hit, the game doesn't know where to put you. It puts you on like a coordinate that doesn't exist on that screen, so it kind of puts you in a weird state. So as soon as you move, you would soft-lock your game. The only way out of it is saving and quitting. Unless you move.
So now they're on Death Mountain, which is easily one of the worst screens in the game.
Yeah.
You have the dead rock enemies, which are really annoying, and you have these boulders, which are also really annoying.
You have to visit the screen 3 times in the speedrun, and every single time it's pretty sketch. You don't want to lose too much health before Hera, because you have to take damage from a bomb jump. Having at least 3 hearts for Moldorm, 2 to 3 hearts for Moldorm is imperative for having a quick fight.
Also, now that they're warping between the worlds, the light world and the dark world, there's an interesting quirk with how warping works. If you stand on certain horizontal coordinates, you can actually speed up the warp animation by about half a second. Pinkus actually got the one there with the mirror. WQ doing the first item dash of the run. That's also a 1.0 exclusive glitch.
Yeah, it's not really necessary to do it there. I think it saves. I'm not
About a
sure.
third of a second, I think.
Yeah, it saves a little bit in the next room. It makes it slightly more dangerous, but you also don't have to deal with the tiles in this room, which is why I do it personally, because holding your sword out for tiles is kind of boring. It's a nice little break. It's the only break you really get in the speedrun, besides mashing text. It's not a bunch of cutscenes or anything. Looks like they both. Very nice beetle room from WQ. That's a room that also looks easy, but is actually a bit tricky.
You have to hit the first beetle at the exact right time and position to get that, to be able to hit him into the hole and hit the switch at the same time. And hitting the beetle that's in the top right of the room with the pot can be really annoying, because you can accidentally hit the switch. So what happened there was a bomb jump to get to the Moon Pearl. It doesn't save a lot of time, but
Just a damage boost.
Yeah, it's just that it's not that difficult. So
A lot of people try to refer it as like a glitch or something, but it's actually built into the game's mechanics.
yeah, you can do that on any version of the game, just because that's how mechanics and the physics work.
the Moldorm fight can be really annoying. Because if he knocks you off, the fight essentially restarts.
Yeah, this is this is the bane of Links to the Past right here. Besides Aghanim, but you know, this is the one thing standing between Aghanim and, like, I mean, you can still get a decent time even if you fall, but I mean, I know from experience, but it's really annoying. Most of the time when a player falls there, they want to reset.
But if you truck on forward, you might just PB, right, Blunt?
Yeah.
Alright, a lot of interesting stuff happens in this segment and on this overworld. They're going to be doing this rupee tree route to get the necessary rupees to pay for Kiki to enter Palace of Darkness, which is the first dungeon in the Dark World. And so they pull that first tree, and it will always give them 4 blue rupees, and at which point they get as many as they need of those 4. And then through the Lost Woods, they try to kill 4 enemies without taking damage, and then they're going to pull another tree that's going to give them 4 reds. For a long time, we didn't know how the trees actually worked. It was just assumed to be random, that sometimes they would give you reds, or blues, or greens. But a runner named ACM actually looked in the code and found out how they work, and that they're manipulated by your kill counter and your damage taken counter.
Such a weird, quirk. It's just weird that it exists. And it's a very convenient, optimization.
Yeah, because we just happen to pass 2 trees.
Yeah. And you're killing, every enemy you kill is pretty much in your way.
And I'll only take 1 hit.
It's funny. There's also another tree right outside the courtyard before you go into Aghanim's tower. So if you actually miss or take a hit from an enemy, and the counter resets, you still pull the trees like you normally would, but then you would just pull the tree outside the courtyard after killing some of these guards here.
Yeah, WQ is actually still 3 rupees short, but he's going to get a free 6 rupees going through Aghanim's tower that he needs before getting to Kiki, so both our runners should be fine.
I think Pink is meant to skip that rupee. I think he just
Yeah, he
it
could.
looked like he was like, I don't really know if I should skip it.
He had a pretty good rupee count there.
Well, he would have got 6, so it would have left him at 109. But there is 1 rupee you can get in the Circle of Pots room. But
Yeah,
I
I'm not
think
sure if
he
that's faster than
Yeah, it might not be
just getting
faster.
extra red.
WQ took a hit, so he's not going to be able to do
Yeah, that's
dash
actually really bad.
kill manipulation. So he got a drop from one of those blue guards, which might possibly cost him a fairy drop in Turtle Rock that he could have forced if that hadn't happened.
Yeah. He has a 50% chance now of getting the fairy in Palace of Darkness. And he doesn't want that, because there's a lot of chances for a fairy in Turtle Rock. So
Yeah, Pinkus is probably going to do the... Yeah, he did the dash strat. If you kill enemies with a dash in this game, drop anything, ever.
it's another weird quirk that's also convenient.
WQ got beam specs. Oh, well,
He got beat
spoke
up
too
by
soon.
Pink.
Beams are very useful for these upstairs rooms.
Yeah. It speeds them up quite a bit.
Good
He's still
RNG
clean.
for WQ in the Circle
Yeah.
of Pots room.
Still cleaned up pretty well. I noticed he doesn't dash in that room anymore. Been meaning to ask him why he doesn't, unless you know, Josh.
I don't actually.
Might be the same
Pinkus
speed
also
as
gets good
dashing.
RNG.
I don't know. I'm sure he
Alright,
has
so-
reasoning.
I'm going to tag
Yeah,
him.
that other guard in the Circle of Pots room can walk in between Link and the guard in the middle with the key. And it can be a real pain to deal with sometimes.
Alright, so who's ahead after this fight? Nobody knows. It's all based on RNG, so just gotta see how many blue balls they get.
Yeah, the first attack is always going to be an energy ball. And then the next 3 are 50-50, whether it's a blue ball or an energy ball. Blue ball's bad. That means that you're just going to lose 6 seconds. There's nothing you can do about it. Then the 5th attack is a lightning, and then it restarts the cycle over again.
What I counted, they both have 1 apiece now, and you'll see that Q and Pinkus are, when they have the chance, trying to hit Aghanim back into the middle of the room, and that is just to lower the teleportation time, depending on where he moves to. So obviously the center of the room is the closest to any other point.
Now, WQ's going to get 3, because he just got 3, and now the next attack is going to be an energy ball, and it's the last hit for Aghanim. So that's 3 for him. Yep. And then it looks like we're at 3 for Pinkus, too, from paying attention. 4. What a game. It's a real shame that sometimes, like, you can have the best start to your run, and then this guy just ruins everything. Looks like Pinkus is up to 5. Very unlucky because 6. He can't get any more than 7. Oh, he got 6. Okay. That's pretty awful luck. 6 is definitely not something you want at this level. Or at all. I don't think you would ever want 6. Three's like the best you can get. Like that's the best. You have the best chance of getting 3. What is it like? What is it? 12%. What is the chances of getting 3, Josh?
I'm not sure actually.
Hang on. Gbot should be in here. Oh, there you go.
31.
Yeah, 31. Doesn't seem that way, that's for sure. I swear, I'm never lucky. I get like I get 7 a lot.
The worst thing about it is that you get 7 more often. What a good video game.
It's a very well designed video game. Ooh, pinkus bonked and almost got hit by that bird there. That bird does 3 hearts of damage. It's not Dark World things start doing much more damage to Link. The game expects you to have done a little bit of exploring by now, so normally you would have maybe an extra heart or 2.
Yeah, and we want sword beams for later on in this dungeon too. So whenever you get hit earlier on in this segment, it kind of gets you. Because you know you only have so many places to refill hearts.
Yeah, Josh, you are cutting off a little bit every once in a while.
I'll check my settings.
Dark World's like exponentially harder than the Light World. Even the first dungeon is pretty scary. It's a lot of backtracking, a lot of dangerous enemies. There's a very precise bomb jump coming up here soon.
Yeah, you have the double bomb jump, which I'm assuming both of these guys do, which is pretty difficult to do quickly. And then, to me, Helmasaur is probably the worst boss in the entire game. So
he's pretty. He has a lot of RNG and can really screw you out of saving time here. House of Darkness is one of the more difficult segments to be consistent. Oh, it looks like WQ got that fairy, so he won't be seeing one in Turtle Rock.
which is unfortunate because, number one, you can take a lot of damage really easily in Turtle Rock, and number two, it's really useful to have sword beams in a lot of rooms in Turtle Rock. So it is nice to be able to get the fairy there, but unfortunately he won't be able to look forward to that. But Pinkus should still get it later.
Yeah, he should definitely get it. Like, he wants a heart from this Helmasaur coming up at the hammer jump. Very good from Pinkus as well.
Yeah, that was a really good bomb jump. Both of them pulled it off really well. I think Pinkus's was just a little bit faster than WQ's.
It looks like Pinkus
Y
is a
pixel
solid
you place
minute.
the bomb and the Y pixel you stand on have to be perfect, so it's pretty nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yeah, doing it fast is the hardest part. Like, once you get it down, it's mastering it and doing it quickly. It's just what saves you the most time.
Yeah, that prize pack image can probably explain drops better than any of us can.
Alright, so here comes Helmasaur. This is another instance where the Sandcart really pays off. They both are going to have 7 hearts for this fight, which gives you an extra shot, since all of Helmasaur's attacks do 2 hearts. Not having the Sandcart. Wow, that was a really good fight from WQ.
Yeah, WQ is really good at Helmasaur.
He is. I think every fight that I've seen him do in the tournament has just been solid.
WQ also does an interesting strat on Helmasaur where he doesn't hold his sword out during the first phase, which is uncommon because it makes the fight quite a bit harder.
Yeah, I think the only benefit is your mobility in the first phase. You can move around a lot easier, and I think it could possibly save a little time, but it's honestly almost the same, I'd say. I think Zelda did some testing on that.
One of the main problems is if you're holding diagonal during a fireball phase, or when the mask breaks, you will get a lot of lag if you're holding your sword.
Yeah.
And WQ doesn't have to worry about that so much, which can be an advantage. Starting with this segment, the game really breaks away from the intended way of doing things. The Dark World is actually designed in a very non-linear fashion, so you can take a lot of these dungeons from here on out in pretty much any order you want. It just so happens that doing Thieves Town, which is the 4th dungeon, is the fastest.
Yeah, it's there's 2 items that help you explore the entire overworld. It's the hammer and the Titan's mitts, and you get those as early as you can. So it pretty much opens up everything in the game once you have the Titan's mitts and the hammer.
Not to mention getting the flute on the way to Thieves is really convenient, and then also being able to get tempered sword right after Thieves helps a lot too. So there's a plethora of reasons that they'll go this way.
You need rupees too before you can get the flippers, which normally you'd go to Swamp, or casual would probably go to Swamp. But since in the speedrun you don't have all the rupees yet, it's just so convenient to do Thieves first. No, second try dig from Pinkus. That shovel is really hard to control sometimes. We didn't talk about Usain Bolt, but that spin speed that Pinkus did there pretty much makes that screen much more manageable. Usain Bolt is the red guard. He just chases after you.
Going into Thieves, there's not really too much crazy that you do. You just go collect the big key, then go into the later part of the dungeon, bomb the floor for later so you can get the boss, and then collect the mitts and the maiden so that you can trigger the boss. So you don't really do anything out of the ordinary in this dungeon like you do in a few of the other dungeons. Like there's the bomb jump in Palace of Darkness. There's a bomb jump in Skull Woods. There's a bomb jump in Ice Palace. But yeah, Thieves Town's pretty straightforward.
It's really weird the way this dungeon was designed, because all the main dungeon items, except for the Titansmiths, of course, are in the first 4 rooms. Compass, map, and everything is just in there. So, and the big key.
Yeah, it's like you collect everything you need and then you go into the dungeon. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
WQ got trolled a little bit in the hallway, but cleaned it up pretty nicely given the RNG that he got.
I like this little strat that WQ does in the where he bombs the floor. He just stands there with the bomb. Doesn't seem significantly faster. I don't even think it is. I think he's notorious for having like his own personalized strats.
Yeah, I mean, when you plant the bomb is the most important in that room, so I think it's just a visual cue for throwing and dashing out really quickly. That is the reason he does that.
Yeah. You want to drop the bomb like as soon as possible. WQ tried to... He got the
Tried to
rare
do the
RNG in
skip.
that room.
Yeah. He had the RNG to skip too. He just wasn't far enough right.
It's pretty crazy because not a lot of people know about that. I think a lot of people don't even go for it. I don't go for it.
I don't go for it either.
Yeah, you saw that Pinkus used a slightly different strat in the bomb room where he walked between the two tables and threw the bomb up instead of just waiting there holding it and dashed out very close to when the floor broke open. So, like I said, it's just a matter of what strat you're more comfortable with and consistently getting out that door quickly, but after the floor breaks open.
Blind is an interesting fight because casually is probably one of the hardest fights in the game. I know when I was a kid, I always needed like bottles with fairies to even have a chance. But in a speedrun, he's actually very easy because he's predictable.
I know anything that damages blind does the same amount of damage to him, her, or whatever.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what level sword, right? It's still 3 hits per cycle.
Yeah.
WQ's on pretty decent pace. It's a really solid Thieves time. Not sure, like he had 3 blue balls, so I'm pretty sure he's happy with his current pace. Does look like Pinkus is managing to keep up with his pace as well, given that he's gotten 6 blue balls.
So now WQ's going to be getting money to buy the flippers later, and he's also going to be tempering his sword.
Yeah, there's 2 300 rupee chests in the Dark World and Kakariko Village, and pretty much the most convenient way to get up above 500 rupees before going to get the flippers, but so we get them while we're here, but we don't actually get the flippers until after Skull Woods.
Yeah, so now they're gonna temper their sword.
Yeah, the tempered sword is so much more powerful than the master sword in this game.
The main reason you get it is for Ganon,
Yeah.
because it saves like a significant amount of time on him. It makes the Dark World bosses easier as well, but still, like having it for the Ganon fight is way better.
I think having it for the Moth fight is really important too.
Yeah, it is. That's a very difficult fight with the Master Sword.
Just because you have to hit him twice as many times, and then that, along with the patterns you can get and not wanting to knock him into spikes and everything, if you have to hit him 8 times, it just can seem like an eternity.
What was that, Fence Dash?
Sick Fence Dash from WQ.
You didn't sound hype enough for that Fence Dash.
I don't know. I wasn't
I know you
as
get
by it
pretty
as I've
excited about-
seen others that have been a little bit more impressive.
Is Fence Dash getting a little old, man? Is that what it is?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Fence dash is still
Still relevant. Okay.
yeah, it's still the best trick in the game, and if you don't get it, you should reset. But
Okay. I was just checking. Yeah, I haven't played in a little while. Make sure I'm not out of the loop. So
we'll see if Pinkus is gonna reset here after he gets the temperature for missing fence dash.
We got WQ in Skullwoods now, and he's in the first mummy room, which it's kind of difficult because you have to manipulate the mummies. He did. Looks like he made it out of there without taking damage, so he's in good shape. Oh, this is the run right here for both of them. Both got the fence dash.
Yeah, so they're both definitely gonna PB. Since they both got fence dash. The bomb jump I just saw WQ do is pretty much the same as the one in Hera.
Yeah, bonking against the wall actually widens the leeway for getting knocked over, because if you're standing in the top 2 pixels before the pit, you'll get knocked over without bonking, but when you bonk, it widens it to 6 pixels. It looks like WQ is making a couple minor mistakes here.
He's kind of racking up the damage on his way to the last part of Skull.
He took damage from one of the Ropas, and then he bonked in that room, which is one of the worst rooms to bonk in. He's still got 4 hearts, so I mean...
Gets trolled by the Fire Snake.
Doesn't really mean much. They'll be okay.
Check this torture room out coming up. It's one of the coolest rooms in the game.
Ooh,
it's one of the coolest rooms to pull off, too.
He took some damage, but I know he does that room optimally. You might see it from Pinkus. Pinkus does it optimally as well. Let's see if he can redeem it. It looks like WQ grabbed that extra heart. It's probably smart, since he was down to 2 hearts. Gives you an extra hit on this fight.
Yeah, he was waiting for the key to spawn from the mummy anyway, so he had time and he just grabbed it. Dashed through the key on the way out.
Very good fight. That was tough. He didn't need the heart, but still.
Saved him 10 frames on the refill, I guess.
I believe he only lost a second. That's crazy.
Yeah, ordinarily the Moth fight, you need to hit Moth 4 times with your sword, but if you dash into the block at the top of the room through Moth with a specific timing, you can actually hit him twice with that attack.
Here comes Pinkus's torture room. Oh no, he doesn't do it optimally. I thought he did.
Still very fast, but yeah.
Still good torture room. The raw dashes just make it look so cool, but in reality, you're just saving very minor frames by doing that.
Wow, that was actually risky from Pinkus because he killed that Helmosaur, but luckily he didn't get a heart drop from the previous Helmosaur in Palace of Darkness, so he got a heart drop there.
It's a good observation. Killing that Helmosaur, you don't want to do it normally, but he got lucky.
Yeah, that has to do with the prize pack manipulation and the fairy drop that we like to force in Turtle Rock.
Pretty decent fight for Pinkus as well.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen any, big major mistakes. It's the disparity in the runners right now has just come from what looks like Pinkus making a few uncharacteristic mistakes due to not having played for a while, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, it's extremely hard to stay in shape when you play this game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it just is with this game in particular. If you're rusty at all, everything just seems to be forgotten.
Yeah, the muscle memory can definitely fade quickly.
Yeah, there's so much, a lot of it has to do with, like, your movement consistency. So you see, like, these guys making very small mistakes, such as like nudging stuff while they're dashing or messing up a dash start or something like that. It's just very minor stuff, but all that stuff adds up over the course of the run. Especially when this game is highly optimized as it is.
Yeah, that was actually one thing I was going to say before, is just the utilization of all the little minor tricks and techniques and stuff that people have learned over the years being implemented in any way they can in this run is really impressive. It's pretty much optimized as far as it can go, except for the use of hovering, which is extremely difficult to do, so I don't even know if that's something that will catch on commonly.
Yeah. It's really hard to see like the difference between top level players, like from like someone who doesn't speedrun the game. I mean, it's very hard to see. I know when I first started out, I couldn't really tell like the difference between like Zelna and like a 127 player. Just you don't really see the huge difference. But like as you start to play the game and as you start to get better, you really understand where these players save time over other players. It's starting to make like less and less mistakes.
So the dungeon WQ is in now has probably the biggest sequence break in the run, I guess. Bomb jump to skip pretty much the entire puzzle at the end of the dungeon. We'll see it when he gets to it in a few rooms.
Yeah, and doing that skips the big key and essentially the blue mail, since you can't open the chest with the blue mail since you don't get the big key, and that makes the late game a lot more tricky to deal with because everything does a whole lot of damage.
This is
Coming
like
up
one
on
of
it
the
now.
more scary dungeons, in my opinion.
That was a very quick textbook bomb jump by WQ.
Yeah, it's actually his personalized version of it. Nice, Screamo.
So starting here, the game is expecting you to have the mail upgrade that you get in this dungeon. And so as a result, the boss does a ton of damage. Getting hit by one of the puffs is 4 hearts. So you can't really afford many mistakes on this fight at all.
Yeah, it's another fight that's pretty much orchestrated, kind of like the blind fight. If you do it the same every time, you won't take damage from the falling ice or from cold stare normally. Especially the strat that these guys use, the poke spin, or poke dash. That was really good from WQ. It's pretty much textbook. I think Pinkus does poke spin, or the double spin.
Another really good segment from WQ. I didn't see anything too major. And according to his splits, he's only about 16 seconds behind after the crystal collection, so he's on very, very good pace.
Yeah, very solid run so far from him. And even Pinkus, like, he's still pretty much maintaining his pace as well. He made some small errors in Skull. Let's just take a moment to remember that Screevo's not in here making dad jokes, but he's definitely making them in chat.
Oh, he's doing his best to be heard.
He'll be here for the next. I think he's doing commentary for the next race.
So we got Pinkus doing Cold Stare. Oh, he drops the sword between pokes. Wow, he's actually going through this really, really quickly.
Yeah.
With dashes and sword pokes, and wow, that was actually really impressive.
That was that was really good.
Yeah, when the fight goes wrong like that, it can be really, really nerve-wracking because everything does so much damage, and you have to watch out for so much especially because of the ice falling.
Yep.
So that was actually really, really cool.
Hold on, we gotta give
You
shout
got
outs to that
the
anti-fairy dash.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. That actually looks a little bit more tricky.
It's extremely tricky. The timing in that room is very, very precise to be able to walk above that anti-fairy coming out of that room.
WQ's mastered the little things like that pretty much everywhere in the game, which pretty much sets him apart from a lot of the other top runners. He has a lot of experience with this game. I think he's been playing it for quite some time now.
Alright, so we're going through Swamp now, which means we won't really have anything to talk about for a few minutes.
Oh wait, there's so much to talk about in Swamp, like you don't even know.
No,
actually talk about a
just
few
saying
things.
that there's a lot that you don't really notice. If
Yeah, a lot of
you
it
don't
is
know the game well.
There's a lot of pumping in this dungeon, which normally you wouldn't even think to do, because it's, you have boots. But there's a lot of very small optimizations in all these rooms, ways to handle all the RNG.
Yeah, every room in this dungeon pretty much is packed full of enemies that can be really annoying to deal with.
And there's an assortment of some of the worst type of enemies. Like this room WQ's in where he's getting beat up. You got the jelly, the fire snake, the Stoffels that throws the bones at you. It's just all the annoying enemies are bundled together. I think throwing a jelly in any room in this game just makes it so much more frustrating.
Yep, because the jellies only start to electrify when you throw an attack at them, obviously. So.
Yeah. And it's random, on whether they're in their cycle or not, I guess.
Yeah.
It's always... And that room that WQ just did the hammer dash in, that's one of the more difficult rooms to not take any hits in. Heavily relying on RNG. Pretty solid swamp so far. He's only taken damage in that room, I think.
Yeah, there are a lot of small things in this dungeon. One is the way swimming works. Any of the face buttons you can mash to get Link to swim faster, but you actually want to wait until after the splash animation finishes before you start pressing buttons.
Is timing the swimming faster?
No, it should be the same. Well, it's I guess if you timed it specifically, it would be faster.
Probably impossible. Do in real time, maybe. Can't really tell, but WQ did an item dash against that statue, which allowed him to grab the pot much easier. Okay, both these guys are gonna come up to the Argus fight. I'm pretty sure both of them will be going for what we call the zero cycle Argus. It's a technique used to kill Argus before he does his first attack. It's very precise, and it requires some timed. It requires an item dash and some timed hooks to pull off. You'll see it if one of them gets it. It's incredibly
Going in
hard to
there
be
now.
consistent at. See, WQ got some bad RNG there. See, the way Argus moves is he moves 3 times, and it's random the amount of distance that he moves. So once he's moved 3 times, he does his first attack. And since he got like this, it looked like he got 2 long distance lunges, so he wasn't able to like back up fast enough to avoid the puffs or to clean it up correctly. But it's still a 1 cycle, which I'm pretty sure he's not happy about, but that's still pretty good.
Yeah, the annoying part is the puffs have to be a certain distance away from the main, from Argus in order for you to actually be able to do damage to them. So when he charges you like that, you actually, if you're still against the wall, you can't pull them away and be able to do damage. If they're in front of him when you pull them away.
Yeah, and the reason your sword is doing damage is because the game thinks you're in a dash state, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's doing the actual tempered sword damage to them instead of the poke damage, which would normally take 2 pokes to kill. I like that bird dash. It's one of my favorites.
I feel like WQ is kind of low on arrows, actually.
Yes, he is. Looks like Pinkus pulled off the 0 cycle.
Wow.
Nice.
Doesn't go for the quick kill though in the second phase.
Yeah, the fire rod kill actually only stays about a second.
Yeah.
I think a little less actually.
Stays about a second, yeah. Somewhat precise.
So WQ took a heart of damage on Death Mountain, which
Probably
is
gonna try to farm a heart here.
yeah. These crab enemies will drop hearts, so you might try to kill one to get a heart back, because beams are really nice from Ire. Wow, threaded the needle there.
That was a risky throw.
Yeah.
Taking a hit from one of those crabs will do 2 hearts, and normally most players, if the crabs are like that close, they won't take that risk.
Wow, rolling deep with the ice rod and dash.
Sick. Oh, he got his heart back. Nice.
Wow.
So now we're gonna get to see the fastest strat in the second room in Mire here.
Yeah, you want full hearts not only for that, but because you want to have as many hearts as you can going into the Vitreous boss fight. Because there's a heavy damage boost strat where WQ actually does a damage boost strat that takes less damage than what a lot of people do. It only takes 4 hearts instead of 5. But yeah, you still obviously want as many hearts as you can going into there, and there is some damage boosting through the dungeon as well.
Yeah, so the second room in Mire is one of the coolest rooms in the game for sure.
Oh, he
no.
made a slight error. He meant to slash to the left there, but it looks like he just messed up.
He recovered pretty nicely though.
Yeah.
It's hard to have 3 left and still get a 2 cycle.
Yeah, that's good cleanup. Sometimes, I can almost guarantee you that was a D-pad derp. Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself when you're trying to pull off. Ooh, WQ.
No.
Oh, not WQ. Pinkus got the landmine right on the last grass patch.
That is really unfortunate. And happens way too often.
That's infuriating. Like, you don't want to lose a heart on this overworld.
He grabs a heart
Oh,
from a
he
crab
got
as
it
well.
back.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, those crabs have a 50% chance to drop something from their prize pack, and in that prize pack, there's a lot of hearts. So you have a pretty good chance of getting a heart. Sometimes you'll get a rupee, but mostly a heart. WQ's still making really good timing. He's on 124 pace. Let's see if Pinkus cleans up Meyer too.
Just a little late on that one.
He's been making the same mistake
Yeah.
I've been doing. I've been making that same exact mistake. I keep missing that top of his rip. That was pretty good.
That was the damage boost I was talking about. WQ did to get that key.
Yeah, the health management is extremely important in Meyer because you want to have a lot of health for the boss fight. Because your damage boosts, you're gonna be taking damage from him. It's like Pinkus is on 126 pace, about mid 126 or low 126 pace. You definitely need we might have to see a major error from WQ Pinkus to catch up at this point. But it's still, you know, anyone's race. One of them can die to a boss.
Yeah, I mean, Meyer and Turtle Rock are definitely pretty damage heavy, so it's not uncommon for run go south in either of those dungeons.
So the way that this boss is going to work is the eyeballs surrounding Vitreous do 4 hearts of damage, but the goo does 1 heart. So he's going to step in the goo to take a heart of damage and get invulnerability frames, and then stand in the among the little eyes and do spin attacks.
WQ just barely missed zero cycle there.
Yeah, if you do it really fast, you can avoid the big eye ever doing a lightning cycle, which is what you want, ideally.
3 second time loss missing that. I also like to point out that WQ has another strat that seems that a lot of players are starting to use now. I think for Vidi, it's much more consistent. I think Pinkus does it as well. Let me see here. Could be getting close to Vidi here soon. It's one of the most consistent strats. That's an interesting buffer to the hook shot.
Damn those boulders. Squirrels were nice though.
Yeah, Pinkus
Wow,
does
squirrels
do
were
the
really
WQ strat. Wow, look at that. See, that's such a good strat. Oh, I think he miscounted his arrows there.
I think
Yeah,
he noticed that he
he did.
didn't throw the last one out, so that's why he started charging his sword.
Yeah.
I think he paused right before the last one went out, so he changed the mirror anyway and just did a sword spin to finish him off.
A hug from that eyeball does 4 hearts of damage. So, well, he wouldn't have died, but might have got him. Might have been a little scared there.
One of the funniest deaths I've ever seen in this game was one time Andy shot 7 arrows and didn't realize, and Viddy just bounced right on top of him and killed his run.
Wow, the
It's funny,
spin
but it's
speed-
not funny
The
when it
spin speed
happens.
going into Turtle Rock from WQ. You got the item dash using the medallion.
Very small optimization there.
Yeah, that saves like 15 frames if your movement is perfect. Something like that. It's really easy to lose time with it too.
This is the first hook shot. Let's not forget that WQ will most likely not be getting a parry.
Yeah, so he's going to be paying attention to his health. I mean, these guys at a high level don't really worry about dying too much in this dungeon. The scariest room is the chomp room. It's really what sets the tone for the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, the chomps do 4 hearts of damage and they are extremely unpredictable.
Yeah. Looks like you got some good RNG in here. Now I'd be happy if I got that RNG. A lot of the rooms in this game, or not in this game, but in this dungeon in particular, are RNG heavy. So depending on what kind of pokey RNG you get, so he's gonna be coming up to a room that has a pokey in it, and he can go into 1 in 4 spots. The fastest would be bottom left, so you can do a key dash, or the top left is also fast. And he got bottom left, let's see if he goes for the strat. Of course, very nice. That's the fastest way to do that room with that RNG. Actually, it's the fastest way to do that room in general.
Coming up also is another pokey room that has 2 pokey, and each of them can go in 4 different directions too. So 4 times 4 means 16 unique RNGs in the room. So it's a very complex room.
Nice, Pinkus showing off the damage boost strat in the roller room that WQ missed before.
WQ had a small, oh, this is the worst RNG you can get in this room.
Oh, and he has a little trouble with the second pokey.
On average, that RNG loses about 3.5 seconds over the best RNG, which is them coming towards you.
Yeah, like I said, there are 16 RNGs in that room, and players would know all 16 and what to do for each. Players like these 2 top players will certainly know all the patterns they can get.
There's a few single spin patterns, which I think are important to know. At least knowing those will save you some time. Alright, let's see how Pinkus handles these rooms. I know he knows how to do these rooms as well. He got the top right. It's a little bit slower than the getting the best RNG, but there's not much you can do.
Nice, WQ didn't get any trouble from that Helmasaur when he's doing that cane dash, so he got through that room really quickly.
It's really solid tool out from him.
WQ coming up on Trinex, which is a pretty straightforward boss until you screw it up. Then it's not very straightforward. But he shouldn't have any problems.
Looks like WQ missed a fire rod shot or two, but had plenty of magic. Finish up the fight without having to worry about running out.
Pretty textbook fight. That was good.
Yeah, that fight can get dangerous if the blue head starts moving around wildly.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating to try and hit the ice head because he jukes really quickly.
Looks like he lost a lot of time on this segment, but it was mainly because he kind of messed up that pokey room. Trying to see, I don't know, and then he messed up the roller room as well. So like, he just doesn't. He has like a very good turtle rock in his PB. So like, it may not have looked like big mistakes, but they're pretty big mistakes for a player like him. But he's still on very low 125 pace now. Could still get a 124, but we'll see.
Minor optimization there. You'll see that, or you saw the WQ switch to the hook shot after getting the last hit off on Trinex, so that he could do a hook dash to get spin speed coming out of the dungeon. We'll see if
sword climb as well.
Yeah, he just did it. Alright, so both of them will be heading into G Tower. And like you said, they're pretty close to each other, but I think it's going to take a pretty big mistake from WQ to kind of change anything here.
Good turtle rock from Pinkus too. Very good turtle rock.
This is definitely the best dungeon in the game.
Yeah, there's a huge, a lot of variance in this dungeon with RNG, and a lot of rooms that require good execution, especially the gauntlet.
I like his strat in the double switch room there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
That's an old crystal strat, but
isn't that one? I think that one's just a little bit faster too.
it's about half a second faster, since you don't have to walk so far left.
Yeah. I think he's making his way Gannon's Tower as well. Again, not too far behind, but it's going to be really hard for him to catch up to WQ unless WQ makes some sort of major mistake.
He needs to be watching his arrow count.
Yeah, he's at 11 arrows, and now he's at 16. He still needs 2 more. If he's paying attention, he knows to grab these extra arrows coming up here. Yeah, he knew.
Yeah, if he'd forgotten those, that would have been a huge time loss.
Yep. Basically, you'd have to fight the red Armos, and that's not something you want to do when fighting Armos on ice.
Right, so he needs more arrows for Mimic, so he's going to pick up this arrow chest before he mirrors back out. Pretty rare not to have to pick up that arrow chest, though.
Yeah, if you have 9 arrows, you can skip that chest.
These Mimics rooms are fun too.
WQ's
Really nice.
Really good at these rooms. Both optimal strats. Ooh, he took some damage in the spike room here.
I think it was actually because he did the room too fast that he got hit there.
That's another fun aspect of this game. There's a few rooms you can do too fast, and you get punished for it.
Yeah, it's a really, really fun speed game.
It's a very weird Gauntlet one. Skeletons are extremely annoying. Watching too much one-hit KO, I keep thinking he's gonna die in these rooms. Overall solid gauntlet.
Ether strats coming out in OHKO for the gauntlet rooms.
Pink is entering the final part of the tower now. A 2-cycle. The last one got away from him.
Wow.
What was that RNG Pinkus got there?
Yeah, that was very interesting.
I don't know. Ooh, almost optimal mimics from Pinkus there. He went for the optimal strat, but
Recovers really, really well in the second Mimic's room.
ooh, this is WQ took a hit in this room. This is one of those rooms that's pretty notorious for kind of screwing you over. There's a couple pixels you can dash on that make it a bit easier to manage, but oh, WQ, looks like Pinkus is in really bad shape here. He's gonna get the fairies. That's honestly probably the best thing to do if you don't want to die in Ganon's tower. And getting through the gauntlet with a heart and a half is it's a bit difficult, especially with the added pressure. He only had one arrow, so honestly, that was a smart move from him. I think any respected player that was in a race would do the same. I'm not sure if they're...
No.
Oh, wow.
WQ falls at Moldorm too. It's not the worst thing in the world because yeah, it does reset the fight, but your sword does a lot more damage this time than it does the first time you fight Moldorm.
Pinkus is getting trolled in Gauntlet 5, and it was definitely worth getting those fairies because he lost 4 hearts in the Gauntlet. Pressure must be getting rid of these guys.
So a 2-cycle from Pinkus in the Landmo fight as well, which is actually pretty rare to see from top players, unless you get like a short hop or something.
Yeah. WQ is still on 125 pace, even with that fall. He was on 124 pace, so his tower was pretty solid, but he's definitely not gonna be able to get one now. And this Aghanim 2 fight is not treating him very well either.
Yeah, ordinarily I would say WQ is probably the best player at Aghanim 2.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. Him and Zama are pretty good too. I'd say it's difficult, just as difficult, if not more difficult than Lamola's. Optimizing the Aghanim 2 fight is very hard.
It's also probably a little under practice compared to Lamola's by a lot of players.
Oh yeah. True.
Only 3 parts for WQ coming into this fight, so can be nerve-wracking. There's a lot of stuff that could kill him.
Well, you don't see that a lot these days, the damage boosting through Aghanim 2. Looks like no warps. Oh no, one warp I think for WQ. Ganon has a 50% chance to warp in the 3rd phase, and wow, that was pretty good RNG for Pinkus there. You got a 3-cycle Aghanim 2. Not bad. Not the tower I'm sure Pinkus would have wanted, but that was a good Aghanim fight.
WQ showing us textbook phase 4.
Yeah. It's always really fun to watch WQ or Zelna fight Ganon. Their Ganon fights are extremely good. They barely ever miss spins.
Yeah, things you want to look out for, or strive for in that fight, or at least in the 4th phase, is where you're gonna bounce off a Ganon from spinning him, in reference to where he might go, and if the torch is gonna go out soon. So yeah, they're 2 runners that have gotten really, really good at knowing what side of Ganon to hit him from, based on what your goal is after hitting him.
Yep. Ganon's hands down the most important boss in this game. I mean, you have to be in practice. It's very easy to lose your touch with Ganon, so I mean, practice is very imperative. Oh no!
Oh no!
No way!
Wow!
What a rough way to go out. That was unfortunate.
Fortunately, he has plenty of magic. He didn't use too much, so he should be able to finish the 4th phase without a problem.
That's so infuriating. Like, I just know that he's like livid about that. Well, good match, or good race from WQ. These guys were pretty close. I mean,
is really solid.
The Pink is not really playing too much. I think that was a pretty good run for him.
Yeah, and if he hadn't fallen right there, he would have finished, just over a minute behind.
Yeah,
which is really not that bad.
It would have been a low 127, very low 127, if anything. Ganon fighting his PB is pretty decent, so. So WQ will be facing Zelna here next, so stay tuned for what could be possibly the final match. If WQ manages to take out Zelna, there will be one more match between the both of them. I think Pinkus has this now. Ooh. I hate when that happens. He missed that spin somehow. I don't really know why.
There you go. Pink is finishing up after an unfortunate fall, but still going to be a sub 129, which is definitely respectable.
With that Ganon fall, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, nice run from Pinkus. He's always put on a good show. One of my favorite runners to watch. Sick.
So, congratulations to WQ, who has to race Zelna in 20 minutes.
It's going to be another good matchup. I mean, their last race was really good. I think WQ made one. Well, I think it's a minor mistake, but it was obviously a major mistake. He had was missing a bomb in Mire, and I think that cost him the race, to be honest.
Yeah, he was decently far ahead. Not, very far, because, nobody's ever very far ahead of Zelna. But he was a good amount ahead, and then, yeah, like you said, he missed getting a bomb pickup from one of the slugs, and then had to go out of his way to
Yep.
Get the chest, I believe, is what he did.
It's just so easy to overlook something so simple like that.
Yeah.
But yet it cost him pretty much the race, I'd say.
Yeah, I think after that he got a little frustrated too, and then was making very, very minor mistakes here and there.
Yeah.
But he still got a 126, I believe.
Yep.
So still a good run, but it's hard to come back from a small mistake like that.
Yep. Now this next race, again, could be either of them. Or just if anybody's taking out Zelna, it's WQ for sure. He's been playing quite a bit, and a lot of his runs have been really good pace. So expect it to be a really good race between the both of them.
Yeah, definitely. So we're not going to get WQ in here for post-race because he's going to be racing soon, and Pinkus doesn't normally come in for post-race anyway. So
Pinkus had a good run.
Yeah,
He plowed through the losers bracket for sure. Took me out as well. We had a pretty close race. He had a lot of close races with other racers too. His last match against WQ was I think 3 seconds apart.
Yeah,
so,
his
I mean,
last match against WQ was very close.
Played really well. Really hope he decides to come back to the game more seriously soon.
Yeah, he has a really good PB. He's, I think, number 5 on the leaderboard right now.
Yep.
Only behind Zelna, WQ, Crystal, and Jaden, who are all basically legends of the game at this point.
Yep.
And third, at this point, he was the third best that had signed up for the tournament. So the third best active player behind Zelna and WQ. So definitely a lot of talent.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good Super Metroid time as well. Pretty competitive time. He's got a very good mindset when it comes to speedrunning, so I think that'll take him pretty far.
All right. Well, I want to thank Josh for popping in on commentary. He actually had some microphone problems and had to drop out. But I think we're going to kind of just hang out, listen to the soundtrack for 15 minutes while the next run, while Zelna and WQ get set back up. And then it will be Blunt Bunny and Dude Bro Sick staying on the mic, and I will be joining them. So stay tuned. We will be back in about 14 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes, actually.
Hey guys, I want to take a minute to remind everybody while we're waiting for the next match to start that we do still have other tournaments running right now. The Super Metroid Any Percent tournament is into the quarterfinals stage, and you can catch the first scheduled quarterfinals matchup tomorrow at 1 o'clock between Sweet Numb and Wild Anaconda 69. And the next quarterfinals matchup on the schedule is scheduled for the 22nd at 9 p.m. between Just Defend and Straveris. So stay tuned to twitch.tv/speedgaming for the Super Metroid tournament. And I believe the Blaster Master tournament has picked back up as well. Pulling up the schedule for that. Nothing scheduled right now, but I did see some matches going on for that, so keep an eye on that. And recently announced is scheduled for August. There is going to be a Metroid Fusion tournament. So if you are interested in Metroid Fusion, go ahead and get signed up. They definitely have spots open. And they are looking for runners. 19 players are signed up right now. So check out the link in chat if you are interested in the Metroid Fusion tournament. Also coming up is the 46 Robot Master tournament that I believe starts in September. And you will be able to find all of these tournaments. Yeah, 46 Robot Master signups are open now. Tournament begins September 24th. Blaster Master tournament still ongoing. No Major Glitches Link to the Past is wrapping up. Hit that exclamation mark events in the chat to bring up all the speedrun events happening here and elsewhere. We've got some other exciting tournaments happening over at Speedruns Live. So there is always a tournament to get involved in. These tournaments, by the way, they are not necessarily for skilled runners of the game. If you like Mega Man and you'd like to try out the 46 Robot Masters tournament, it's not going to be easy, but sign up. These tournaments are open to all levels, and it's a good way to get yourself speedrunning a game that you've been interested in but haven't had an excuse to step into. So keep an eye out on speedgaming.org/events for upcoming tournaments. But once again, we'll be back in a few moments to wrap up, maybe, the Link to the Past No Major Glitches tournament with the grand finals matchup. Number 1 Zelna going up against number 2 WQ. Stay tuned.
Rolling in. All right, we should be starting here shortly.
Yep, just waiting to see the race start. I haven't seen a link to the past race channel go up.
Yeah, just give him a sec. I think Zelma's still setting up now.
Yeah, I just saw Zelma go live, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up his live streamer. All right, there's the race channel. All right, still trying to.